The dust was thick that afternoon, swirling through the dry street of Red Creek like an angry wind. The sun hung low, burning everything it touched. People gathered in the middle of the town square, murmuring, whispering, staring at the trembling girl standing on a wooden crate with a rope around her neck. Her wrists were tied, her face was bruised. She couldn't have been older than 20. The sheriff wiped his sweat with the back of his hand. This woman is charged with stealing bread from Mather's general store. In this town, theft is punished by hanging. A gasp moved through the crowd. Some felt pity, most looked away. It was easier not to see the desperation of a stranger. The girl, thin, starving, shaking, lifted her chin. "I didn't steal for myself," she whispered. "It was for my little brother. He hasn't eaten in 2 days." No one answered. No one cared enough. Except for one man. Elias Ward, the widowed rancher, stood at the back of the crowd, arms crossed, hat shadowing his eyes. He had spent 3 years in silence since his wife Leela died. 3 years burying himself in ranch work, refusing company, refusing kindness, refusing life. But something in the girl's eyes, the same stubborn spark Leela used to have, made his chest tighten. The sheriff raised his hand. "Proceed." The executioner kicked the crate. The crowd gasped. But the rope jerked, not upward but downward. A single gunshot split the air. Elias' rifle had snapped the rope clean. The girl collapsed to the ground, coughing, gasping for air, her hands clawing at her throat as she fought for breath. "What in the hell?" The sheriff spun around. Elias stepped forward, rifle still warm, eyes blazing. "You're going to hang a starving girl for a loaf of bread." "The law is the law," the sheriff snapped. "And common sense is common sense," Elias growled. He holstered the rifle. "She didn't steal out of greed. She stole out of hunger, something half this town knows too well." The sheriff glared at him. "You interfering, Ward. Haven't seen you speak to another soul in years." "Maybe it's time I did," Elias said, lifting the girl gently into his arms. She winced at the touch, her ribs were bruised. "You can't just take her," Mathers, the store owner, shouted. "She stole from me." Elias turned slowly, his voice quiet but dangerous. "Put it on my tab." The crowd erupted into murmurs. Mathers had never been paid a penny on that tab. Elias always bought supplies in cash. But he didn't argue. Not against a man like Elias Ward. Elias walked past the stunned town, carrying the girl like she weighed nothing. She clung weakly to his shirt, exhausted and terrified. "Just breathe," he muttered. "You're safe now." When they reached his horse, he lifted her onto it carefully. The girl tried to speak. Why did you help me?" Elias mounted behind her, securing her so she wouldn't fall. "Because no one helped my wife when she needed it." He clicked his tongue, and the horse began the slow journey toward his ranch. The ranch was quiet, shadowed by the sunset. Elias carried the girl inside and set her near the fireplace. She looked around with wide, frightened eyes. "You hungry?" he asked. She nodded timidly. "Eat first," he said, placing a warm loaf of bread, roasted beans, and a cup of water in front of her. He untied her wrists gently. "Then talk." She hesitated, then devoured the food like someone who hadn't eaten in days. When she finished, trembling still, she finally whispered, "My name is Clara." Elias nodded. "Elias Ward." She gasped. Everybody knew the name. The widowed rancher who never spoke. The man who buried his heart with his wife. Clara lowered her eyes. "I'm sorry for causing trouble." "You didn't cause trouble," Elias said. "You were trying to live." Clara swallowed hard. "I have a little brother. He's sick. I've been hiding him in the abandoned barn outside town. I didn't know what else to do. I couldn't watch him starve." "Where is he now?" Elias asked, grabbing his coat. "Near the ridge," Clara whispered. "Behind the old mill." Elias didn't wait. "Stay, warm yourself, I'll bring him." Clara's eyes widened. "But..." No arguments, he said, already out the door. He found the boy quickly, a small bundle curled in a corner, weak and pale. Elias scooped him up, wrapped him in his coat and carried him home. Clara cried when she saw him. "Tommy, oh God, thank you." Elias put the boy near the fire, fed him, tended to him, and watched Clara stroke her brother's hair with shaking hands. For the first time in years, Elias felt something warm in his chest, something he hadn't let himself feel since Leela died. Purpose, connection, life. The sheriff arrived the next morning, 3 deputies behind him. "Ward," he said sternly, "we need the girl." Elias stepped onto the porch, blocking the door. "She's not going anywhere." "She's a criminal." "She's a child," Elias snapped. "Starving, caring for her brother, abandoned by this town." The sheriff clenched his jaw. "I'll have to arrest you." "Then you better bring more men," Elias growled, "because I'm not letting anyone harm her." The deputies exchanged nervous looks. No one wanted a shootout with Elias Ward. Finally, the sheriff muttered, "We'll discuss this in town." "You do that," Elias said, voice cold, "and I'll bring the whole town to witness how Red Creek treats its own." Word spread faster than wildfire. By noon, half the town stood outside the sheriff's office. Mothers, workers, ranch hands, people who knew hunger, struggle, loss. "Elias is right," someone said. "She doesn't deserve to hang. She was trying to save her brother. Mathers charges too much anyway." One by one, the town turned. Pressure mounted until the sheriff had no choice but to dismiss the charges. Elias returned to the ranch to tell Clara. When she heard the news, she broke down in tears. "You saved my life," she whispered. "No," Elias said softly. "You reminded me I still had one." Clara wiped her eyes, trembling. "I don't know how to thank you." Elias looked at her, a girl who had everything taken from her, yet still fought for someone else. "You don't need to," he said. "But if you and the boy need a place, this ranch has room." "Are you sure?" she whispered. Elias nodded. "A home means nothing if it's always empty." Clara's voice broke. "Then we'd be honored." And just like that, the ranch, silent for years, felt alive again. Elias didn't just save Clara. Clara saved him too. And from that day on, Red Creek remembered a lesson written not in law books, but in the heart of a widowed rancher who refused to let a starving girl die. Mercy is worth more than justice. Kindness is worth more than rules. And sometimes, a life can be rebuilt by simply saying, "Eat first."